Somebody said, I'm ignoring Glenn Beck over on Blaze TV.
For me?
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
People are so nice.
Yeah.
Too nice to you, Chris.
You know, it's actually funny. Before she came home today, I was thinking I need to tell her when we're live that we should, make sure we have some banter. Make sure you're as mean to me on the show as you are in real life.
Yeah.
Didn't have to. She knew to do. She just came back from the dentist, guys, so if she sounds like she has a mental problem, it's just a bit of numbness.
Well, we have to come up with an excuse for me every day because I'm always sound kind of retarded.
You're not allowed to use that word.
Okay.
It's a bad word. Not allowed to use it. Just in private between the two of us.
Mm-hmm, of course.
All right. So I think we're good. We're started. Welcome to the show, everybody. I think 6 people that are here.
6 people? I think looks
Teddy,
like 10.
ZMB Truth, Binary Recoil. Good to see you guys. Yeah. He's got a couple million subscribers on this other channel. Not a couple of million, like 300,000, but enough that there should be more people here now. I'm a little bit disappointed at this turnout so far, but I'm sure we'll get some people as the evening goes on. So this is my second broadcast of Toxic Masculinity. She's toxic, I'm masculine. Together, we are toxically masculine. That's her thing. That's her joke. My joke is, I think I'm actually toxic, and I think she's a little masculine.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. All right, well, let's have a look at today's news, shall we? Valeria, do you want to start us off?
Well, first of all, I want to say that's Anan Y. Moise. I'm not sure if I spelled the name right. Your wife accent is adorable. Put her on a screen. Home chicken.
Home chicken.
Home chicken.
Somebody's clearly from the hood. That should be a meme, me saying that.
The first article is Rush Limbaugh dies at age 70 and leftists can't contain their hatred.
Yeah, this is pretty sad, actually.
It's very sad. Like 70 years old. He would live another like 10, 15 years.
Yeah, and he was a very good man. The man is a legend. I didn't prepare what I was going to say about Rush because, everybody on every conservative media outlet is just talking about how sad this is. Obviously, we knew it was going to happen. I actually made a video about Rush right after his cancer diagnosis, or after he announced it to the world. And I learned a lot about him. I grew up with my father listening to Rush, as did probably most of us. I think probably the legacy that he has that I'm the most impressed by was his ability to convert leftists by accident. He did this amazing thing. He's like a magician, right? So he would piss off leftists, right? Like they would hear things that he would say and they would be outraged. And as a kind of, I don't know, cathartic exercise or something, they would listen to Rush Limbaugh, listen to his radio show. Leftists would, just to get pissed off. They would listen to him. This is really true. My father has a friend who used to do this, and I've heard many stories of people doing this. They would listen to Rush to argue with him, right? Actually, Susan Rice, her son, I read an article, her son became a conservative this same way. Her husband would listen to Rush on the way home from work or whatever after picking him up from school, the kid, and just to argue with Rush. And he started to think, you know what? This guy's right. And the same thing happened to my dad's best friend growing up. He used to listen to Rush. And he to be fair, he did occasionally say, all right, that's a pretty good point. But for the most part, he was listening to him, I think, to argue with him and to get angry. And eventually he said, you know what? I think some of this stuff is kind of spot on. And now he's a conservative. And a guy on my Twitter said the same thing. So Rush had this unbelievable ability to reach people who hated him. And that, to me, that's like the goal, right? That's the dream. And unfortunately on YouTube, it's very difficult to do that because YouTube constricts you. If you're a conservative, they don't want leftists to have to face ideas that they don't like, right? That trigger them. So now we're in this society that's becoming more and more divided because these social media companies are saying, oh, you don't want to see that? We'll hide that from you. This group doesn't want to see this, so we'll hide that from you. But the problem is you don't get exposed to new ideas. And this is the beauty of Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh exposed everybody to really great ideas. Valera, when you were in Russia, did you listen to Rush Limbaugh all the time?
No. No, we listen Putin all the time. We have nothing else to listen.
Yeah. Putin, Rush Limbaugh. I think probably equally as powerful in very different ways.
Yeah, I noticed that good people die kind of earlier than...
Oftentimes. This is true, yeah.
It like in Russia we would
Yes.
say that God taking good people earlier, like...
Yeah, we
that's
say that.
what
We
you
say that in
yeah,
America
you say
too.
this,
Yeah.
that
We
it's
say the
very
good die
sad,
young.
very
is what we
sad.
say. It is very sad. I plan to be a real a-hole. Totally horrible person.
Darling, you don't need to plan. You are.
Okay, so thank you, Natalie. I want to live a long time. All right, so let's read through some of these tweets. It's really bizarre. So this is what I have to say about this, because the left has not witnessed this death, the death of Rush Limbaugh, the legend. And by the way, I would, on a personal note, I would like to say that none of us would be able to do what we do without Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh was the pioneer. All of us are just pretenders. Now, there were people before Rush, but it was sort of the William F. Buckley types, right? Who, massive respect to William F. Buckley. But Rush Limbaugh did something that no one had been able to do or thought to do previously, which is to take conservative political, philosophies, ideas, and express them in a format on a show that was actually funny and entertaining. He was really, really funny, and he made conservatism entertaining. And that's the first time I think it's ever been done in history. So he really is a pioneer. And we all try to emulate that. But he was the best, he's a legend. Let's see here. So the left heard that Rush Limbaugh died. And I actually don't know if I would say that this is a testament to how horrible leftists are, although, okay, no, I take that back. It definitely is. But it's also a testament to how influential the leftist media is. You've got a lot of these people genuinely believe that Rush Limbaugh is a racist. That a lot of people are criticizing, and I hate to read these on the, just after the man has died. But this is reality. This is what's going on right now. This is the raw truth. So let's read some of these tweets by these psychos. This is an article, by the way, in the Daily Caller. And they've listed a bunch of tweets from really horrible leftists. This guy, all these people have a blue check, by the way. This guy's name is Louis Vertel. No idea who he is, but total scum, obviously. He says, once I learned my aunt listened to Rush Limbaugh, I knew never to speak to that aunt again. Thanks, Rush. What a charmer. This guy's name is Daniel Summers. He's a doctor, apparently. He writes, Rush Limbaugh was a terrible human being in life, and I refuse to abide by the convention that his death absolves him from criticism for his legacy of bigotry. He wasn't a bigot. See, this is the weird thing. Like, obviously this guy's a horrible person for putting this tweet out. But the fact that he even believes that is crazy to me. That's just a testament to how how malleable the public is and how much the press lies about this stuff. Because people actually believe that, and it's just wrong. Daniel, let's read a couple more of these. Bette Midler, sure you've heard of her. She writes, Rush Limbaugh has gone to his reward. I bet it's hot. If hot in the sense that it's awesome. Let's see here. Shannon Watts, also blue check, writes, Rush Limbaugh helped create today's polarized America by normalizing racism, bigotry, misogyny, and mockery. Mockery he did normalize, but I think maybe it was kind of normalized before that. But he did like to mock people, and he was good at it, and he was hilarious. He was a demagogue who got rich off hate speech. Not true. Division, lies, and toxicity, that's his legacy. So this is, I can read more of these, but I'm not going to because they're garbage. But this is what I had to say about this. This is what I wanted to talk about this particular article for. Leftists are leftists for a reason, right? People who vote for Democrats vote for Democrats for a reason. And that reason typically is because they believe that the Democrats are the good guys, right? They're environmentalists. They want to save the whales.
Turtles?
Valeria likes turtles.
I do.
But you know what I mean. Like the straws.
Yeah.
You can't have straws because there was a YouTube
yeah.
video with a straw up a turtle's nose once. And they're like, the straws are going to kill all the turtles.
Yeah, and now when we getting lunch at work, on catering, they have, because of COVID, they put all of
TV
this
shows.
Yeah, in production in Hollywood, they put all of the food in plastic containers. Everything separate, everything in plastic, even cups in plastic, except the straw is paper. Everything is plastic, straw is paper. Straw is the only one thing I would like to have in plastic.
Yeah.
Everything else could be paper.
Everything else could be paper if they were true environmentalists. Yep. Well, nobody ever said the left was rational. But here's the thing. So leftists have this kind of moral authority, right? They think the right is bigoted, all the stuff this woman said, polarizing, misogynistic, racist, bigoted, all that kind of stuff. But this is the kind of stuff that they post.
Well, they shouldn't post anything. If you have a negative thoughts about the person who died, you will ever stay silent. Don't say anything. Like that doesn't look good.
Of course that's what you do.
They shouldn't do stuff like this.
Look, how many people truly hated Ruth Bader Ginsburg? I'm sure there was a lot of people on the left on the right that were very frustrated with her and were desperately hoping that she was going to die. On the one hand, obviously balanced by the fact that, anyone's death is necessarily going to be tragic for the family and all that kind of thing. But as a matter of practicality, people did want her off the court. Mm-hmm. But when she did finally die, I can't recall anybody going, ha ha! I'm sure some people did, but they certainly didn't do it on Twitter. They certainly didn't do it on television. This is a slew. I would call it a slew of leftist blue check people going out and posting all of this absolutely rancid viciousness against a conservative because they don't like his politics. They think that he's evil. Look, leftists, we're not all Hitler, all right? Just because we have a different political view than you, that doesn't mean that, we should be the subject of this kind of abuse. This is ridiculous, especially in death. And what's the point? Does it make them feel good about themselves? I don't even understand that. They are so ugly. They are so nasty. They are so horrible. I don't know how any leftist can look at this garbage and say, oh, the left are the good guys. No, the left are not the good guys. I'm sorry. Donald Trump may have said some things that didn't come across well, but this is intentional viciousness, intentional ugliness. I'm sorry, guys. This is just how it is. The right, good guys. Left, bad guys. And it is demonstrated every single day. This is absolutely clear. They couldn't be clearer. Because these aren't like a few people. This is tons of tweets. I mean, I could go on and on forever. It's just disgusting. Anyway, all right, I'm going to move on from
leftists, they're not necessarily bad people, but lots of them, like, kind of stupid, uneducated.
Well, yeah. It's kind of weird. I think for the average Democrat voter, you have sort of stages of development in terms of traveling into the heart of darkness, I guess, right, spiritually. And I think the first step is being, like, uneducated or gullible, right? So a lot of these leftists, they don't take the time to actually research politics, look into it, think about this stuff objectively, and they're kind of gullible people, a lot of them. Not all of them are gullible. Some of them are just uneducated. But many of them just listen to what Rachel Maddow has to say, and they go, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. And then the problem is, if you're that gullible and you're that unwilling to educate yourself, about the politics of both sides, what ends up happening is you listen to people like Rachel Maddow who say the right is evil, right? She might not always say it outright. Sometimes it's implied. But there is this onslaught on CNN, MSNBC, all the networks, even PBS, New York Times, all that kind of stuff. They're all lying about conservatives constantly, nonstop, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I think somebody who's that gullible will genuinely believe that everybody on the right is a white supremacist, right? That's how it ends up happening. On my watch, it says, robberies on the rise throughout central LA, where we live. That's, because we have Democrats in charge out here. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is that they are the bad guys. There's no need to speak ill of Rush today, especially of all days. And, I don't think that Democrats start out as evil. They start out as gullible, or they start out as poorly educated about politics, and they're sort of slowly boiled in the pot of water, the frog slowly boiling, which I think is actually a myth. I don't think that works, but but they slowly become conditioned to believe that they can be this vicious and awful to conservatives, and it's okay. They become evil, essentially. All right, darling, I think we should move on to the next headline. It's enough about their viciousness.
I like what Michael wrote here. He wrote, right is right and left is wrong.
That's a good sentiment. I like that.
Yeah. So the next will be Governor Cuomo threatens New York Democrat Critic.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I think Cuomo just needs to shut up and think what he's doing. Because the more he's doing,
Sorry,
it just worse for him.
Oh, yeah, the more he speaks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that his conference was a disaster, his press conference. But the reason I wanted to do this article was because this concept of destroying somebody politically or destroying their career, this has actually come up twice in like a week. Do you remember this guy, T.J. Hooker, or whatever his name is?
No.
T.J. Ducklow or something? T.J. Hooker was a joke. That was a show from the 70s. This guy Ducklow, he works for Biden, or he worked for Biden. And he came out and he was in a relationship with a reporter, which I don't actually care about. But media people do. Journalists were like, oh, this is an inappropriate relationship because the media has to, have some sense of distance from the people that they're reporting on. Because there's any possibility of the left ever reporting negatively on the Biden administration, but whatever. So some reporters were going to report about this and talk about the relationship. And this guy calls up this woman who was doing a story on this and he's like, don't you effing talk about us. I will destroy you. He said all this nasty stuff to this woman. But he specifically said, I will destroy you. And here's Cuomo talking to a Democrat, telling this guy's New York State Assemblyman, Ron Kim. So he's in New York. He's a Democrat. But he's critical. This guy, Ron Kim, is critical of Cuomo because of Cuomo's mishandling of things and his cover-up and all that stuff, which naturally, of course, is going to be a bit critical. But Cuomo has called this guy up and has also said, I will destroy you. And this, to me, this seems like standard operating procedure on the left. Now, I have a theory, I've talked about this on my show several times, that the way the left works is through blackmail, leverage, intimidation, right? So, like, my idea is that there are tons of Democrats in D.C. with a lot of leverage over each other and other politicians and other important people. They essentially work like the mafia, leveraging each other with information. And they have this sense that they can destroy somebody. But they're not supposed to actually say those words, because that, you can get them in trouble if they say something like that. But if you get somebody emotional, they might come out saying something a little bit more honestly than they should.
Yeah, they're doing like not stupid like stuff, like saying, "I will destroy you."
Yeah, that's a mistake.
Yeah. Like, don't say stuff like this. You need to be
more
smarter than that.
Yeah, you need to be smarter about how you talk to people, but when you get emotional, and I think this shows that Cuomo has become very emotional about this issue because he can see the walls closing in. He's scared now. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't have called this guy and said, I will destroy you. So let me read a little bit of this. This is in Forbes magazine. Forbes is actually a leftist publication, so it's kind of funny that they posted this.
Chris, what publication is not left?
Wall Street Journal opinion section. Breitbart, New York Post. These are all valuable places to find news. All right. But beware, Wall Street Journal news section is leftist. It's a split paper. I don't really understand.
So complicated.
It is complicated, yeah. New York lawmaker says Cuomo threatened to destroy him after nursing home scandal. New York State Assemblyman Ron Kim accused Governor Andrew Cuomo Wednesday of threatening to destroy Kim's career in retaliation for Kim criticizing Cuomo's handling of COVID-19 in nursing homes, marking the latest scandal for the embattled governor. I don't think we have to get into too much detail about this story. I think it's just going to rehash all the stuff that happened before. Basically, this guy's critical of Cuomo, and Cuomo's threatened him. This guy's been on Fox quite a bit, and he's willing to talk to conservatives right now because he's saying something that's critical of a Democrat. But I don't know if there's all that much to say about it, because at the end of the day, I think Cuomo's done. I mean, I don't know for sure, because the Democrats are very tricky, and they can protect their celebrities. Cuomo's certainly a celebrity.
Well, I don't think he's done, because Democrats have all the power. They will do everything to protect him, and I think he's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, so one thing I wanted to point out, if I can find it, is all these celebrities came out and they started congratulating. Did you see this video? They were congratulating Cuomo for his Emmy. He won an Emmy.
Ah, yes, I remember that.
You remember that?
Emmy, yeah.
Cuomo Emmy. I'll write that in. We'll see if we can find this video. I should have set this up ahead of time. But right, so all these celebrities came on. They were just like, Andrew Cuomo, you're so awesome. you came out and you did press conferences.
Because he could, like... Why did he get Emmy? Like, he could... What did he do?
It was some kind of, like, miscellaneous Emmy that they can give to anyone. But, like, yeah, so all these all these celebrities came out and they were trying to say, like, because your press conferences were so informative and amazing, in contrast to evil Trump's, you know, botching of coronavirus or whatever, even though he didn't botch anything, you really deserve this Emmy and you're an amazing person. Let me go ahead and play a little bit of this. Let's see here. How does the video look?
Good. People saying that, is the cat being tortured?
Huh?
Is the cat being tortured, people saying?
Oh, is the cat being tortured?
Yeah.
Do you want to go in there and put some food in or something?
No, it's not gonna help.
Well, if you want to, now's the time. Just throw in a couple little things.
I'm not gonna open the door, he's gonna escape.
All right, just leave him then.
The people saying video has no audio.
Oh, shoot. All right, so obviously that didn't work. I forgot to change the mic out for the desktop audio. I thought that the settings would switch when I'm not used to OBS. Well, that's embarrassing. And no, the cat is not being tortured. He's just in the bathroom. The cat likes to be around us when we're doing things, which is lovely. He's a great part of the family, very much appreciated. But he gets really loud when we're doing stuff.
He's very loud. When you talk, he also wants to talk. Mm-hmm. And he always meow, and it's better to just let him chill in the bathroom while we're doing the show.
Yeah, agree. All right, well, hopefully I didn't lose 12 out of my 24 viewers during that little section. Oh, I did. I definitely did. Lost like half.
The cat needs treats.
The cat needs treats. Yeah, I told Valeria to give him treats while we were watching that video. But all right, so let's go on to the next story. That was a terrible disaster. That video didn't play, but anyway, so you think Cuomo's going to stay?
I think yes.
I think Cuomo's going to go in shame.
No.
I know they protect their own, but this is quite a big deal. I mean, his actions led to the deaths of thousands of people. Well,
isn't it like Biden's scandal with laptop and Ukraine was a big deal? It's a huge deal. And he's the president.
Yeah, okay. And you know, you may be right. And the problem may just be that CNN will refuse to cover it honestly. You know, you got all this leftist media covering it honestly, but CNN doesn't. And so leftists will never know what a horrible man he is.
So what is that? The award goes to your cat.
God, you know, I thought putting the cat in the bathroom would actually be better. It's made it worse.
Well, you never know.
I think the only solution is murder.
No, it's not.
I'm not going to kill our cat. I might kill our cat. All right, so why don't we move on to the next story? What do we got?
The next story is Oregon takes actions against racist math.
Oh, yeah, okay. This is hilarious. So this actually has much wider implications because this is all about, critical race theory and pseudo-history, the Afrocentric view of the world, all this kind of stuff. So somehow the Oregon Education Department, this is from a website called LifeSite. They've written this article. Oregon Education Department wants teachers to remove racism from math class. So I read through the article, and I'll tell you what. Oh, and by the way, this was funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and their essential thesis is this. Math is racist because, get this, you have definitive right and wrong answers. And somehow that's like cruel to people of color.
Well, explain this to me because I don't quite understand.
Okay, let's see here. All right. They want to dismantle racism in mathematics instruction.
Well,
yeah.
So if there is wrong answers, it's racist? What?
Yeah, like the idea is like you shouldn't tell black or Hispanic students
That they picked the wrong answer?
that there's any such thing as a wrong answer.
What do you mean?
Okay, let me read. Okay. According to this guide, which is created with the generous financial support of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, teachers who ask to see a student's work, this is a different part, are using their product on paper as a crutch to understand what a student is thinking. Thus, quote, requiring students to show their work reinforces worship of the written word as well as paternalism, end quote. Worship of the written word refers to the theory that relying on writing skills is a key element of white supremacy culture in organizations. I guess because they have to write in English. Well, you could go ahead and learn Swahili and then take your math classes in Africa. There's still going to be right or wrong answers. It's a really weird thing, but notice that they have this really esoteric language. This really they're like gobbledygook. Almost all this sort of white people are all racist, anti-colonialist, critical race theory, Marxist kind of nonsense. It all has this really difficult to understand language. And if you break that difficult to understand language down, there's a guy, Michael Eric Dyson. Look him up. He talks like this all the time. This is like his natural way of speaking. And I've found in my life that if you're wrong often about things, but you want people to believe that you're right, and you don't want anyone to question you, it's best to just use convoluted language that sounds really smart, and then a lot of people will just respect you because you sound intelligent. Now, I do the opposite, actually. I actually try to clarify everything that I'm saying. I simplify my words, and I try to speak as clearly and transparently as I can, right? Because I want to actually have a conversation with people and maybe teach people things, maybe learn some things. And if I'm wrong, I actually would prefer that would be obvious. But people like this, they don't want you to know that they're wrong because what they're talking about is absolute nonsense. But let's keep reading here. to combat white supremacy culture in organizations. The guide suggests educators ask students to create TikTok videos, silent films, or cartoons about mathematical concepts or procedures instead of showing their written calculations. When it comes to grading, there are many racist pitfalls to avoid, according to the instructional guide. This says, since grades are a way of reinforcing perfectionism, another tenet of white supremacy, according to the manual, teachers are asked to replace their letter grading system with, quote, assessments that highlight student knowledge rather than deficit knowledge. Well, he didn't get any of the math questions right, but he knows a lot about Transformers. So good for him. Transformers, they transform science fiction, science. Science has a lot of math in it. They're obviously a good student. Boom. I would be awesome at this. They should hire me. Equity grading, they call this. This methodology is in line with, quote-unquote, equity grading, a practice that focuses on equal outcome of student assessments. You are effing kidding me. Calling any difference in outcome, like one student outperforming another, an example of, quote, unconscious and implicit bias, end quote, and therefore racist. Oh, my good Lord. I can't find where it says. Let me see here. Let's see here. I'm trying to find the thing where it says right and wrong answers. Okay, hold on. The everyday teacher actions to which the guide refers includes focusing students on attaining, quote-unquote, the right answer. Such a practice perpetuates the apparently false concept that there are always right answers and wrong answers in mathematics. It's very rare that you have a subject in school that has clearly defined right answers and wrong answers. I would say that math is kind of an exception rather than a rule. Like if you're doing studying literature, there are ways to interpret literature. But math is one of the few subjects that there is absolutely right and wrong answers. And I guess that's why they're targeting it, right? Valeria just went like this. Somebody said the other day, what was it? Oh, it was Biden. Biden said that we're actually supposed to talk about this in another.
Yeah, so just hold it.
I'm not going to hold it. I'm going to say it. Biden said the other day at a
they said minorities.
Town hall.
They said minorities can use a computer. Something
yeah,
like
they don't know how to get on the internet. Ethnic minorities.
That's not racist at all.
But also, for years they've proposed this idea that it's difficult for black people or Mexicans or whatever to be able to show ID at the voting booth because they're black or something. I don't know. So, some guy did a great video on this he went around Harlem asking, do you have trouble getting ID? And every person was like, now I got my ID right here. What are you talking about? There is this, I don't know if it's a disingenuous argument or if leftists really are this ignorant. But there's this idea that Mexicans and black people are so stupid that they can't get an ID. It's terrible. I don't know why they perpetuate this nonsense. I understand why, because they're trying to get a policy passed or something like that. They're trying to get their political ideology spread, and so they're using these arguments to support their positions. But you're supporting your positions with essentially racist arguments. And this is like basically that same, I don't know what they would call it, the racism of low expectations. What do they call that? Anyway, this something, there's a little adverb in there or something. But anyway, they have this low expectations of black and Hispanic people. And this is that times a gazillion. It's like, well, black people can't get the answer right. And so you're not allowed to have right and wrong answers. How about you just teach them better? I hate to tell leftists this, especially in Oregon, because it's my home state. But, and this might shock you, black people can get the right answer from time to time. They're actually, some black people are pretty smart, believe it or not. I know that sounds crazy, Joe Biden, because poor people are just as bright as white people. It's kids, right? Poor kids are just as bright as white kids. Anyway, it pisses me off. I'll tell you why it pisses me off. It doesn't piss me off because they're crazy. Of course they're crazy. Some of these leftists are crazy. It pisses me off that this has been picked up by the state of Oregon as a guide to reform their classrooms. No, nothing? No comment? Don't shake your head no. Say no. They can't see you.
Well, I was thinking about when I will have kids, I kind of want to send them to Russia to get an education.
Wait, hold on. We're having kids? What's going on?
No, it's not the... Not yet. I want to send my kids to get education in Russia. Because Russia have a strong, good education. Like, what we have in, like, 5th grade in Russia, American will have in, like, 8th grade or something like that.
Is that actually true?
It's true, because I know what... I saw what kids learning here, and at the same time what we learn there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's... I mean, kind of... sad because America has such like the Harvard and all of this great colleges, like smart people, but at the same time I would say in average Russia have better education from what I see.
I'm trying to look up the country's best to worst. Right. And I can't find a comprehensive list. I'm sure they've got, it's probably easy to find, but, oh, here's the states. I don't get this. Country, okay, hold on. Country ratings education. How about that, right? No. Oh, there we go. That's better. Okay, Russia is somewhere in the middle. It's just below, like, Israel. Mm-hmm. But the United States is actually significantly further down. Like, Russia's just above 50%. And the United States is maybe 2/3 of the way down the list.
I think in USSR, Russians were even smarter because we were like the country who is reading the most. Like USSR was like...
And you also have to learn those crazy letters. You gotta be smart to learn that.
Oh, somebody agree with me. That's nice to know. It's good to know. It's good to know that people at least understand me.
That is good to know. So, I guess we're gonna have racist education now in public school.
Well, that's not good for minorities.
Oh no! Look, I'll say it again. I said it in the last video. I'll say it in this video. Racism against white people hurts black people. And Latinx people. Latinx is so stupid. Yeah, I do think that our education system needs to be reformed. I'm a huge proponent of the privatization of schools, creating more charter schools, creating more private schools. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, there's no question about it. If you have kids, I mean, unless you live in a kind of a weird state where your public schools are good, I don't see any way how you can put them in public school and be confident they're going to get a good education. They're going to be indoctrinated with this crap. I mean, do everything you can to get them into a good private school. I know not everybody can afford that, but man, it's such a desperate situation now.
Well, at least like homeschool.
Yeah. All of our nieces and nephews, well, my nephew isn't old enough to be in school, but all of our nieces are in private school.
I can bring my mom here. She's a teacher.
She might have trouble teaching kids in English.
True.
But it's a good idea. We could teach her English in a year, and then she can... All right, shall we move on to the next story?
Sure. 75% of Republicans want Trump to run the GOP.
Yeah, this is an interesting survey. This is from the Epoch Times. Did I pronounce that? I don't know. I finally got a subscription to the Epoch Times. I finally broke down and did it. It wasn't that I didn't want to get a subscription. It was that, you know, when I'm researching a subject, I'm usually in a bit of a hurry. Mm-hmm. And this thing pops up and I'm like, get out of here. But for this, I did. I signed up. So 3/4 of Republicans. So actually, the statistics about who wants Trump to lead the GOP aren't that surprising to me. I mean, at this point, Trump is the greatest thing to happen to Republicanism, conservatism since Reagan. I mean, he's just fantastic. 3/4 of Republicans told Quinnipiac University pollsters that they want former President Donald Trump to play a prominent role in the Republican Party, according to a survey released 2 days after Trump's acquittal. Sorry, it's kind of hard to read because I'm listening to my own voice in my headphones. The reason I have these on is so I can hear Valeria clearly, but I also, the way I have it set up, I have to hear myself. So I got a bit of an echo. It's kind of frustrating. The national poll, which was carried out on a representative sample of 1,056 adults, found that 75% of Republican respondents said Trump should play a major role in the GOP going forward, with that number dropping to 34% of all category of respondents are considered. Yeah, if leftists are asked, of course they say no. At the same time, this is the statistic that surprised me. At the same time, 87% of Republicans said they think that Trump should not be barred from holding future office. 87%. That means, and correct me if my racist math is off, but that means 13% of Republicans think that Trump should be barred from holding office? That's a bizarre statistic. Maybe there's a third group of people who are saying, I don't know, maybe one way or the other, something. Or maybe 13% of those surveyed were lying and they weren't actually Republicans. Let's see here. That's crazy. Should not be barred from holding office, with that number dropping to 43% if Democrats and independents are included in the polling mix. So in total, only 43% of those polled think that Trump should not be barred from holding office. That's so bizarre to me. Like they've become so... Trump derangement syndrome has... I didn't think that it could get worse than when he was actually in office. It's worse now that he's out of office. People really hate Donald Trump.
Yeah, and did you see the episode how White House trying to ban traveling to Florida or people who traveling from Florida? Somebody said when Trump was in White House, they were trying to get him like out of White House. Now when Trump is in Florida, they're attacking Florida.
I hadn't really thought about that. Yeah, this whole interstate travel restriction thing. Yeah, sure. I forgot that that's where Trump lives.
And people saying Trump neighbors, the Trump's neighbors who live around Mar-a-Lago,
Yep.
they're complaining like Trump had the rules that nobody can live more than 7 days in Mar-a-Lago because it's a kind of like a hotel, like a resort, and he has this rule. And Trump said, "I'm gonna follow the rule." It was a long time ago, and now when he moved from White House to Mar-a-Lago and he lives there more than 7 days, clearly. People start complaining, "Oh, Trump lives there more than 7 days. It brings our home prices down." I think it's actually bringing your home prices up.
So they're treating Trump like they treated black people in the 1950s. Oh, I don't want that darkish family moving in next door is going to reduce our home prices. Well, he does use a pretty severe spray tan. So parallels can be made, I guess. Let's see here. I'm not really sure why this is news. I would actually have gone with the number of people who think that Trump should be barred from holding office, because that's a much more shocking statistic. I think that 75% of Republicans wanting Trump to play a big role in the GOP. Why is that surprising? I guess that kind of news needs to be posted, because there are some people who are still anti-Trump conservatives who want to take over the party. And I don't think that they realize just how much Republican voters love Trump. The thing I like about Trump, I mean, the thing I've always loved about Trump, and I think what most Republicans do, is that he's an actual doer. You know, he came into office and he wasn't constricted by all this, political mumbo jumbo, how the system works and all that kind of stuff. Somebody liked your response to racist math. I just got a text message on my watch. Yeah, he came into office and he just started doing stuff. He pushed legislation forward using the appropriate channels 99% of the time. Joe Biden's just executive orders. But Trump came in and he said, "Okay, this is my plan. Let's figure out how to execute this plan. What do we need here? What's the problem here? Okay, how do we fix that? Okay, let's move on that." He just treated it like a business. He treated it like a businessman would run a business. How do we make a profit? Okay, let's take these steps to get there. That's what he did running the country. Oh my God. I mean, we need that leadership. We need that kind of direction. My father, when I was growing up, my father started a business. Right? It wasn't successful at first, but I started watching it grow. Right? And as it grew, I saw what my dad did, how he acquired new equipment, how he built a new factory, how he hired people. I saw how the whole business worked, and I realized, this is a point that I thought of with regard to a completely different subject, but I'm going to say it now. One of the big problems that Democrats have is that they are intellectually elitist. A lot of prominent Democrats think that Republicans are stupid, right? And first of all, I would like to say Republicans are not stupid, all right? I've spoken to Republicans at CPAC, people commenting on my show, just generally in the world. Republicans are some of the smartest people that you will meet in the world. The difference between a Republican or a conservative, let's say, and a sort of an intellectual elitist leftist is that the intellectual elitist leftist will make sure that that they're intelligent. They will make it very clear that they're intelligent. But a conservative who's very intelligent, that's not the first thing that you're going to recognize about them. The first thing you might recognize about them is that they are like an easygoing person. They're a cool guy, or they're charming, or they're funny, or they're kind, right? Because we don't, value pushing our intellect on people so much. And I think it has to do with the fact that conservatives might look at somebody who isn't, like a PhD, And they're not going to think, oh, I don't want to interact with that idiot. What they'll think is, I wonder if that guy's a nice guy. And that's actually why we're not racist. That's why Republicans don't mind criticizing black culture. Because we don't actually look at black people and think, you're idiots. You know who does? Democrats. Because Democrats look down on everybody. And that's a huge misstep for them. Because conservatives are, I think, for the most part, more intelligent than Democrats. But even the conservatives who aren't book smart, like they don't have a super high IQ or whatever, they have what you call common sense. This is something that my dad instilled in me as a kid. This is something he always told me. He said, look, Chris, your mom's intelligent. I've got common sense. And my dad started this business that's worth millions of dollars now. Why? Because he had common sense. He took a common sense approach, and that's a business sense approach. And that's what Donald Trump did. And all these elitist reporters and everybody, they're like, oh, Donald Trump is just a buffoon. You know, he's so stupid. But Donald Trump was never stupid.
Trump is not stupid. You said it in your video, like why women hate Trump so much, because he sounds stupid.
Yeah. He doesn't speak with this elitist
like
attitude.
This intelligent, like not this like beautiful lies, you know, like most of Democrats talk. Mm-hmm. He talk to the people how real people talk.
Yeah, because he respects people in real life.
That's how he won, and they didn't expect, like, oh, Trump is a joke. Mm-hmm. He sounds stupid. Nobody's going to vote for him. Mm-hmm. And look what happened.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, you know why I married her. And she's kind of pretty. All right, why don't we go on to the next story? I'm sick of talking about how stupid leftists are. Of course, well, let me just say this real quick. Of course, Donald Trump should lead the party. Of course he should lead the party. Why wouldn't he lead the party? He's the guy that we all need to look up to. He can run businesses. He can run the country. He's proven it, right? He ushered in the most prosperous era in American history with the highest quality of life until COVID hit, right? And then it kind of tanked everything. But we're still coasting okay. I mean, a lot of people are still doing pretty good because we came out of this incredible Trump economy. I mean, I know a lot of people are suffering, but we're doing a lot better than we could be doing. I think that'll probably all end with Biden's stuff.
Well, I want to just say a couple things about Trump and his business. A lot of people saying, oh, Trump was like bankrupt 4 times and his business is no longer making big profit and he's losing money. Yes, he is losing money because he was working as a president. Right. Obama gained so much money being a president. Trump lost money because he was working for the people. He wasn't working to gain money, to like make contracts through Ukraine, China, like Biden did when he was a vice president. Like, yeah, he lost money because he was working.
He's not corrupt.
He's not corrupt. Mm-hmm. You can't. They couldn't find anything on Trump.
I gotta put a camera on you. Maybe the next video. I have the equipment, but today she was like, "Nah, I'm tired. Don't put the camera on me."
I'm not tired. I'm like, I can't feel half of my face because of anesthesia. Like literally can't.
What, did anesthesia punch you? I hate that bitch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, anesthesia. I'm saying like Anastasia.
Chris.
I'm trying to make a Russian
Stop
joke. Bad joke. Hey, I think that's the first time she's ever laughed, like given me like a charity laugh. Like if she doesn't find things funny, she normally just goes, "That's not funny," and that's it. All right, shall we move on to the next story?
Yep. U.S. service members are opting to pass the COVID vaccine. Did I pronounce it right?
Oh, you mean pass on?
Pass on.
Pass on. They're
COVID
not
vaccine.
taking it. They're not taking it.
Well, yesterday we were talking how COVID vaccine makes you gay. So maybe there's something to do with that.
The Marines are like, hell no! Get that thing away from me. Yeah, this is kind of a funny story. I don't really understand it. It says thousands of service members are saying no to COVID-19 vaccine. This is a story out of the Associated Press. It says, by the thousands, U.S. service members are refusing or putting off the COVID-19 vaccine as frustrated commanders scramble to knock down internet rumors and find the right pitch that will persuade troops to get the shot. I never learned to read. Some Army units are seeing as few as 1/3 agree to the vaccine. Military leaders searching for answers believe they have identified one potential convincer, an imminent deployment. Well, that's interesting. Navy sailors on ships heading out to sea last week, for example, were choosing to take the shot at rates exceeding 80% to 90%. So if they say, you're going to war, then they have to, then they're like, okay, I'll take it. Which I'm not sure why that would be so convincing. Maybe you guys can tell us in the comments. Let's see here. Up to 2/3 of the service members offered to take the vaccine have accepted, and that's actually higher than the rate for the general public, which a recent survey found by the Kaiser Family Foundation put at roughly 50%. But the significant number of forces declining the vaccine is especially worrisome because troops often live, work, and fight close together. Well, okay. So here's the thing about the military guys refusing to take the vaccine, I think. This is an experimental vaccine. This is not a traditional vaccine. And they never really said that when they rolled it out. Nobody really talked about that. It was in a couple of stories here and there, science magazines and stuff like that. But it wasn't marketed that way. And the actual way that the vaccine functions is so significantly different than a regular vaccine that I actually was thinking they shouldn't even call it a vaccine. And so I think this scares the crap out of people. Like, we don't know what the side effects of this new technology are. Like, what are the side effects?
Well, one side effect is it might turn you gay.
If you didn't watch yesterday's broadcast, so in Iran, there's this cleric who told everybody in Iran, don't go near anyone who's had the vaccine. It's turned everyone gay. Which I still think is the best story I've heard in weeks. That's just too funny. But you can't expect people to trust a vaccine if you're not honest about that vaccine when you distribute it to them. Now, let me just say, for the record, that I think the vaccine probably is safe and efficacious and all that stuff. And the reason is because I have a very good friend who is a neuroscientist, and he studies this stuff. He's actually studied coronavirus. And what he told me, so I called him and I wanted to talk to him about this vaccine, this so-called vaccine. And what he told me, this is how I understand it. So in order to make a vaccine, you've got to basically trick the body into thinking they are infected with a virus. So the body produces all of these antibodies, fight the fake virus, but then it's like primed to fight the virus when you do catch it. So any virus that does get into your body, it's immediately killed off, right? And you never get sick after that. That's how vaccines work. Well, the way this vaccine works is it uses your cells to sort of skip one step in the manufacturing process. So one of the steps that would have occurred in the lab and taken a lot more time producing this vaccine is now performed inside the human cell, right, inside your cells. That's where the RNA stuff comes into play that you've heard about. So the step that would ordinarily be performed by scientists or researchers or whatever. I don't know who would do it, but in the lab, that step is now gone and it's performed inside your body. Now, what are like long-term side effects of your body performing this task? That's the kind of worrisome bit. But it doesn't look like it will be bad. Maybe for a few people here and there. I mean, all vaccines can be bad for a few people here or there. But it looks like the vaccine is probably totally safe, like compared to other vaccines. I know some people out there are probably anti-vax types.
I am, yes.
Can we keep that sort of stuff quiet?
No.
The show is a bad idea.
Well, Russians against vaccines, like, generally.
That's terrible. I will say this. Traditional vaccines, I trust completely. This new vaccine, because my good friend assured me that it was safe and kind of explained what the difference is between the traditional vaccine, I kind of like 80% think it's safe. But 80% isn't good for me. Like, still, I'm kind of like, I don't think I'll take it. But I do think that it's safe. I don't think this is like a trick.
Well, if you take like a flu vaccine,
yeah,
they offer flu vaccine every year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to a doctor here, but he was a Russian speaking doctor, and he told me like every year they make a new flu vaccine,
mm-hmm.
because every year you never know what strain of flu is gonna happen. So they just make couple flu vaccines like kind of randomly,
not
guessing.
Randomly. They give it their best educated guess.
Guess.
Yeah.
So
right.
what's the point? Take a vaccine if it's maybe not gonna work. Maybe
I think they most of the time probably get it right. I haven't looked into that, but I imagine most of the time.
I had a bad experience with the flu vaccine being in Russia, because every year in school we were required to take one, and every time I was getting sick for like 2 weeks.
We've already gone past our time by 5 minutes.
It's fine.
You got to pay attention to that, darling.
It's okay.
I'll beat her later.
So I had a bad experience. I was sick every time when I was getting a flu vaccine, and then I stopped taking, and I was fine. Like every year, flu didn't. I didn't get sick. It was a
Russian vaccine, so who knows what it was.
I don't want.
Probably like sewer water.
I don't want to experiment with American vaccines yet.
Well, I'll tell you what. Maybe we'll get the flu shot, and you can see if you get sick. Just a test.
No, I don't want to. Why don't you do that?
I'll take it. We can go take it together.
Okay, and we'll see what happens. No, I'm not going to take anything.
We'll see if I get sick first. Okay. Do we have one final story?
We do. It's Biden hilariously fails in the first town hall.
All right. I'm sorry I messed up the first time, guys, but I think we can play this this time. Let's see here. Where is that town hall thing? Oh, you know what? I don't have it up. So this was what I was talking about earlier. Biden was doing the CNN town hall. He basically says minorities can't get on the internet.
I was very surprised they let the Biden out without a script. Guys, bad idea. Terrible idea.
Yeah. You let the Biden out unscripted, and this is what happens. All right, let's go have a watch of this. I think you guys are going to find this is pretty funny.
The other portion is a lot of people don't know how to register. Not everybody in the community, in the Hispanic and the African American community, particularly in rural areas that are distant and or inner city districts, know how to get online to determine how to get in line for that COVID vaccination at the Walgreens or at the particular.
So, was the audio good for that one, guys?
Yeah, it looks like it's working.
All right, thank God. I'm not good at this yet. As I continue to do it, I'll get better and better. But how awful was that? How awful was that? Oh, you couldn't hear it because you don't have headphones on.
No, I couldn't.
Have you seen this video?
No, no.
This
No,
is
I
unbelievable.
didn't,
Did you read about it?
yes, I did.
There's just no words. He's just such a fool. I mean, I
can't watch videos like this with Biden because I see like him talking, but I feel embarrassed. I don't want to see stuff like this.
Well, I'll tell you what. This is the kind of elitist attitude that I was talking about. You know how I said, like, Democrats think conservatives are stupid? I'll tell you what. You talk to any farmer. Like, I know a lot of farmers from Oregon. They're some of the most brilliant people I know. I mean, just really smart people. People who work farms, own farms. Really bright people. And, you know, the same goes for, like, okay, so Biden's talking about black people and Hispanic people. They don't always know how to get on the internet. I mean, maybe that was true in, like, 1994 when, like, hardly anybody knew how to get on the internet. But that's not true. That's not true today. Everybody knows how to get on the internet.
I mean, some old people
Yeah, very old
have
people.
problem with like internet and
but
phones.
not necessarily black.
No.
Yeah. But, you know, this shows how out of touch he is, how out of touch these elitist Democrats are. Oh, you know, we have to have equity because black people are a little, you know, they don't know how to get on the internet. That's unbelievable to me. To me, that is the worst. That is the most racist thing he's ever said. The thing where he said, like, you know, poor kids are just as smart as white kids. Okay, I can chalk that up to, like, a slip of the tongue. Right? Or whatever. This is telling. This is the most racist thing I think he's ever said. And he said some pretty bad stuff. When he said, at one point, I don't know if I've ever played this video for you. At one point, he said that Barack Obama is a credit to his race because he's clean. I think he meant clean cut. Like he's, you know, got a good haircut or something. But even that's pretty bad. But this is the worst. This is the worst thing I've ever...
And it's been... for how long he's been the president? Month.
Yeah, this is
something.
an article in Breitbart. The article is called Joe Biden's 7 Cringeworthy Moments at Wisconsin Town Hall. Joe Biden on human rights violation. They also, this is a little long, so I'm not going to play this video, but he says basically that when he was asked about China's human rights violations, he says, culturally, you know, there are different norms. There are different cultural norms. Like for us, if you think that a guy who pretends he's a girl doesn't want to play, or, you know, shouldn't be allowed to play soccer on a women's soccer team, well, then you're a bigot. That's our culture. In China, they just randomly kill people who disagree with their political policies, which I think might be where we're going.
Oh, I hope not, because I just moved from the place, like, I mean, not like China, but Russia is kind of close to it. And where else am I gonna move? I just moved like to America. I mean, five years ago.
Yeah, I don't want you to have to move again. Where are we gonna move to?
I mean, I want to live in America, just not in California.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find somewhere else,
Yeah.
guys. Let's see here. Oh yeah, this was Biden says, okay, I'm just going to play this for you guys. I think you guys are going to get a kick out of this. Let's have a look.
How are you, sir? Good to see you, man. Hey, folks. How are you? Good to be back, man.
Yeah, it's nice to see you, sir.
And you know you enjoy being home with the baby more. I don't want to hear that.
I do, yes. Yeah, he's 9.5 months, so I'm very
get
happy.
It. No. Everybody knows I like kids better than people.
I saw
Everybody knows I like kids better than people, he says.
Well, that's just horrifying.
Here's the thing about the Biden kid thing or the Biden kissing everybody thing. I've never pushed that as a thing against Biden. And the reason I haven't pushed it really on my show is because he's an old guy. He comes from old school politics. You know, they're supposed to kiss babies. They're supposed to hug kids. You know, that was how they were supposed to do politics. And so, I don't know, I guess he liked that part of it. To me, if I had to run around kissing everybody and hugging everybody, I'd be like, all right, I need a shower, you know. But Biden seems to like that. Okay, fine. You know, when I go up to Oregon, I play with the kids, you know, my nieces and my nephew. You know, they crawl all over you. That's what kids do. You know, I try to think the best of everybody. Does Biden look super creepy doing this stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
I mean, I was giving him excuse before. Like, there was a tragedy in his past. His
Tragedy.
wife. Sorry.
I like strategy, though. That's a good thing,
No,
too.
I was trying to... Okay.
Yeah, sure.
His son died. Then I think another son died from cancer.
Yeah, his wife died.
His wife
a
died.
car
Like,
accident,
and
I
I was giving him excuse like his children, they were adults, but they died. So I mean, what's the first son? Was he old? Like old?
I think the first son that died with his wife, I think. Or
Yeah,
something.
you don't remember how old was he? Well, it's sad. So I was like, maybe Biden so like sniffing kids and so close to them because he's kind of, emotional.
Sure.
Because he lost. But now it's like become more and more creepy,
Yeah. Well, the thing that I think is weird about it is that this has become a kind of a meme. This has become kind of a criticism of Biden. Mm-hmm. By the way, when he said like kids would rub my leg and watch the hairs, and I love kids jumping on my lap. I mean,
I'm Joe Biden and I love kids jumping on my lap.
That was from a video that I made. I put that together, but there's just no self-awareness, right? He was never really aware that what he was saying sounded really creepy and weird. And granted, you don't have to take it that way. I like to give him the benefit of the doubt even today because that's the kind of person I am. I'm a little bit more positive and optimistic. But once you recognize that people think that of you, maybe be a little bit more careful about that sort of thing. And so this just shows, a complete lack of self-awareness, I think, of anything. He's just old, he doesn't know what he's doing, I think, half the time.
I mean, he's not like super old, but his mentality, he doesn't look like he can rule the country.
No.
Like, you better retire, like spend your time with your family, wife, 2 dogs,
Well, speaking of him not looking like he knows what the hell he's doing, let's play another clip real quick. This is... I think you guys will find this funny.
You have, over the years, over your career, you've already spent a great deal of time at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, except now you're living there and you're president. It's been 4 weeks. What's it like? How's it different?
I get up in the morning and look at Jill and say, where the hell are we? No.
I get up every morning, I look at Jill, and I say, where the hell are we?
Did he really say that?
He was referring to waking up in the White House and being like, wow, we're in the White House. But the way he phrased it, it just sounds like he's got dementia and he doesn't know where he is. Anyway, I thought that one was pretty funny. But anyway, he kind of botched this entire town hall.
It's kind of like, I don't think it's a good thing to say, but my personal opinion that Biden, I think the next president of the United States is going to be Kamala Harris.
Well, right, because
and I think it's going to happen
have to step down or
probably next year. I don't know, but it doesn't look Biden. I mean, he doesn't have like this energy. I mean, he had like this energy when they said like Biden won, like for sure he's 100% the president, like, and he made this like a little run. He was like running. I think he spent so much energy in this short run that
he's done.
He's done.
That was the last energy he had in his whole life.
That was the last.
I love that. I want to play one more clip. This is of him basically lying and saying that they didn't have the vaccine when he became president, which is not true. That's such a bizarre lie to make. But anyway, this is what he says. Hold on.
And the biggest thing, though, as you remember, when you and I shouldn't say it that way, as you remember, but when you and I talked last, we talked about it's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office.
So he says here, we didn't have the vaccine when we came into office. But he did. It's just a bizarre... The stuff that he gets wrong, it's almost like AOC level mistakes. Right? Like he's been coached by his guys before he goes on stage. And then he hits the talking points, but he hits them a little wrong. Like maybe he meant to say we didn't have a vaccine rollout plan or something like that. Because he claims that, even though that's not true.
There's 2 vaccines.
Yeah. What's your point?
My point is that they had the vaccine while Trump was the president.
Yeah.
But they didn't allow to use it.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of these towns, so it's a kind of a funny thing, right? Trump hadn't left office, but he'd been voted out of office. And Democrats in Democrat cities still seem to be like delaying the rollout of the vaccine. In Florida, they didn't have a problem. In Florida, they were just distributing it like candy. It was fine. In all the conservative places, the rollout was okay. But in all the leftist places, they were like, we don't know how to do this. You mean we have to do this? The federal government isn't? Well, we're idiots. We don't know what to do. And they're like helpless babies. They couldn't do anything themselves. They're like, this is Trump's fault. And it's all, of course, political theater. If they really wanted to, they could have rolled out the vaccine fine. But they wanted to make it look like Trump failed again. They're so obsessed with smearing Trump. They're crazy. I mean, Trump had already, the election had already happened. It already happened.
It just so funny how, I mean, we watch CNN and Fox and we watch every channel like MSNBC, and every day on CNN while Trump was the president, they had this COVID statistic on the right side, like right. Like 24 hours a day, like 24 hours. And as soon as, like, next day after inauguration, there is no more statistic, no more COVID. It was just so ridiculous. Guys, can you at least leave that statistic for, like, first 100 days that Biden said that we're going to mask up for 100 days, and then you can remove it and say, oh, it's actually worked. So
or at least a week or something.
Just wait.
You guys, when we transitioned from Trump to Biden on January 6th, Valeria noticed this.
You translating what I just said?
No, I'm saying something new. I promise I'm saying something new. Valeria noticed that right away. She noticed that little ticker on the side of every CNN newscast had disappeared, the number of COVID deaths. And she was obsessed with this. She pointed at it all the time. I was obsessed with
it because I knew that it's going to happen. But I thought it's going to happen like a week, 2 weeks
Yeah, it
after
happened
inauguration,
immediately.
but I didn't expect it to happen next day after.
Yeah.
This is why I was so obsessed with
I should have
that.
pointed it out in a video because maybe like 2 days later, other conservative political pundits started pointing this out. They started to notice it. And I was like, oh, yeah, Valeria noticed that like 2 days ago. But I never put it on a show. I should have. So is that all the news stories?
Yep, for now, yes.
All right, I guess we're done with the broadcast. But I would say if you watch my regular show, Mr. Reagan, and you're wondering why I haven't posted any videos, I've been doing a lot of research. Now, not every video that I'm doing needs a lot of research, but the videos that do need a lot of research, I sometimes don't expect exactly how much research I have to do, and they take up a lot of time. So I do have several videos coming out in the near future. But yeah, I've just been doing a lot of, I got some big videos coming out. I got some small videos coming out too, but I got a lot of big videos coming out. So stay tuned for those. Do you want to take some questions from the people watching our show? The 13
there was
people
questions actually you just answered. They were asking what happened to your channel,
watching?
and why did you start a new channel, and why did you call it Toxic Masculinity?
Well, I'll tell you what. I started the new channel basically because I want to do a show that's a daily podcast. So we're going to do one of these every day. But I don't want it to interfere with the show that I normally do, Mr. Reagan. I don't want you guys to be inundated with notifications. If you want to watch this show, you can get notified for this show. If you want to watch Mr. Reagan, you can get notified for Mr. Reagan. And if you want to watch both, you can get notified for both. But I wanted to give people the choice because this is such a different format. And I just thought it'd be better to do a different channel. The other reason I wanted to do another channel is because I'm really nervous that Mr. Reagan might get demonetized. So we're trying to set up a completely different channel just in case I need to shift my content here. We'll see what happens. So far, that's what Valeria taught me. It's a Russian thing. You got to spit when you knock on wood in Russia. Things aren't devastating just yet, but you never know. So that's why I started this new channel. But I am definitely not giving up on Mr. Reagan. That's my first channel. That's my true love. Sorry, Valeria. She's looking at me all angry now. You're my true love. Mr. Reagan is, my job. But I do love Mr. Reagan, and I will never give up on that show. I love it. The reason I called it Toxic Masculinity is actually because I had an idea for a different show, completely different format. And it was going to be kind of like The View, but it was going to be all guys. And we'd smoke cigars, and we'd wear three-piece suits, and we'd call it Toxic Masculinity. And I pitched it to a bunch of people, and everybody loved it, but we couldn't get it going. There was just too many roadblocks. There were options, but at the end of the day, it was better for me just to do this format of a show. But I just stuck with the name. I like the name. And I thought if we ever turn this show into something else, I would like to keep that name. So I'd like to brand this as Toxic Masculinity and then move on from there. I am, after all, toxically masculine, I think. No?
Well, I saw somebody said, I didn't catch the name, but they think that you need to remove the word toxic because you might get suspended for that or something like this. I don't know.
Look, a lot of the stuff that I do is intentionally provocative. It's not super provocative, but it's just a little bit provocative. It's sort of like a thumb in the eye of our enemies, right? You call us toxically masculine, I'm going to take that word and I'm going to own it.
And why people can't super chat?
People cannot super chat because this channel is not yet monetized. We are just starting. We don't have hardly any people watching. What are we at now, sweetie?
Let me see.
16, I think. We have 16 people watching.
Looks like 55.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Do you still hate The View?
I love The View. I stopped doing those videos for one reason and one reason only. it's really time consuming to do those videos because you have to sit through like 3 or 4 review videos and go through all their most egregious mistakes and the things that they've said that are lies or distortions or something, and then you take the best of those and I react to them, and it takes like at least a full day, if not 2 days, to make one of those videos, and it just takes too long. And it's not. I should probably do some of those again. Maybe I'll do another one.
Binary Recoil asking, I have a question. I saw this one, No Game No Life. If we can hypnotize, brainwash people to remove brainwashing, should we do it to politicians?
That's a silly question. Well, yeah, okay. I'm not going to answer that question, but I am going to say this. If any of you are doctors, please try to diagnose me. So the other day, this is really weird. I was sneezing. I have like an allergy or something like that. I don't know what of, but I started sneezing. I think it was, 2 days ago? 2 days ago? Mm-hmm. And it was unbelievably painful. Like I sneeze, and my whole body just coursing in pain for like 30 seconds. I have to kind of like bend over, hold myself up. It was horrible. My sister, who's a chiropractor, thinks that it's like a herniated disc or something like that. Pinched nerve, maybe. Like something in the spinal column. Oh, by the way, I will have a video out, I think, tomorrow morning for the Mr. Reagan show, so watch out for that. Anything else? Any other questions, sweetie?
What do you both think of Tom MacDonald and his music? I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is either. I don't know. I'll listen. I'll look him up.
If you want to answer this question from Michael, how do you meet your wife? I know it's probably too personal, just checking in. So do you want to answer that?
In Russia, there are a lot of lonely women.
Oh
and so they get these
gosh.
magazines, American Husbands, and then they go to the back of the magazine. They can order, they have pictures, and they can order a guy. And she ordered me. I came in a little box. It was amazing. She was so happy. She was like, oh, thank God, you look just like your picture. No. Do you want to tell them how we met?
I think you can tell.
No, you can tell.
No, you can tell.
Do you remember?
Yes, sure.
I don't think you do.
Oh, just say it.
I don't know why
Just
she's being shy. We were working on a movie. It was not a particularly good production. There's good productions, there's bad productions. We were on a bad production. And yeah, I saw her and I actually thought she was a lot older than she was. I thought she was like 27 or something like that. And I had a girlfriend and she had a boyfriend. So, and then when we did talk, when I did go up and talk to her, I thought, oh man, she looks way too young. This is not going to happen. And I thought, well, we can stay in touch, you know. Maybe if I make a movie or something in which I need a teenager, then I'll call her up. And so she gave me her Instagram. And then she starts Instagramming, messaging me like every day.
No, you did.
Oh,
You
did
started.
I? Oh, really?
Chris, I have the whole our Instagram chat for how many.
You'll
how
have
long
to
we've
show
been
me. That's
together.
not how I remember.
Chris, you.
When we're off this.
No,
Okay,
it
I'll
was
tell you what.
you who started
when this is
texting me
over,
first.
when this is over, you show me, and then
I'm gonna scroll up through our whole Instagram chat for last 3 years
Yes.
until I will find the first message.
yes,
I will.
and
Trust
then
me.
you show me, and then tomorrow, who is ever right, will admit it on camera.
That's gonna take a long time for me to. Well, I'll do it.
She suddenly sounds a little bit more shy. But anyway, so she starts texting me on Instagram, and I'm thinking, oh man, I think this might end up being like a thing. And I wasn't sure if that was a good idea, because even though she was 20 at the time, I was 36.
Yeah, something like this.
So you were like a dateable age, but you looked younger than 20. And it did kind of freak me out a little bit. How many times did I ask you for your ID?
A couple times.
And I was like, I don't think this is going to work. But I really wanted to get away from this girl that I was dating.
I'm gonna send this clip to your ex.
No, you will not.
I will.
No, you will not.
I will.
I was really upset with this girl. Well, I wasn't upset with her, but I just realized this is not going to work. So I was kind of desperate to get out of it.
To everybody who was asking if I have any single sister or clone, I do have a cousin, but she's still in Russia and she's 16 years old. So, guys, you have to wait a couple years. And she's desperate to move to America. So
yeah.
I have to find a husband for her.
Yep. Awkward.
I think this is it.
Okay, great. That's a great last question to end on. If you're looking for underage girls,
60 or
toxic
16.
masculinity.
16. 16.
16. 16. Yeah, off limits, gentlemen. All right, so shall we end the show?
Yeah, sure.
God, I want to come up with something else to say other than Valeria has a 16-year-old cousin you could date. Read this book if you haven't yet. This is a prediction of the future, United States, year 2021. Great book. Great book. That's a first edition. It's not, I don't think it's a first edition. I think it's like the American first edition or something like that.
Sorry, I'm just reading the comments. Biden would approve. I mean, it's about 16 years old. Guys, come on, stop it.
Anyway, I love people who watch Mr. Reagan, and now I love people who watch Toxic Masculinity. So if you stuck with us for the entire hour and
a half and 37 minutes.
Man. Hour and 37 minutes. Gosh, sorry we took so long. We're trying to dial it in. The first episode was short. This episode's a little too long.
Yeah, Chris just talking too much.
You know, it was funny, actually. When I started to do this video, I thought we were so short last time, we can take our time, and I blew it. It's way too long. Well, thanks for staying with us. We love you guys. And, what? Somebody... Okay, she's laughing at something.
Sorry. It's still this Biden jokes, like 16 too old for Biden.
Hair doesn't smell so good at 16. Loses that childlike scent
Bit
around
old for Biden.
12.
Okay, guys. I'll have to say good night here and see you tomorrow.
All right, 6 o'clock tomorrow. Be there. Thanks for watching. And remember, it's not that our liberal friends are ignorant. I got to come up with like a new tagline for this show.